The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. Get back, even sinners lend to sinners. If you lend money to those whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as also your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed down, shaken together, and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
If charity is the universal language on earth, then I think mercy is the universal language of heaven. St. Peter Claver, our Jesuit saint that we celebrate today, exemplified both those virtues. A little bit about him. He was shortly after St. Ignatius in the same northern region of Spain, and he became a Jesuit and a priest in that 16th century era. And then he came over to the Americas, maybe south like Colombia, and was a slave to slaves, as he called himself. And he ministered to, as his own stories go, after everyone would come off the boat, he would go in and he'd find the slaves that were just on the brink of death, laying in the mud in the bottom of the hull of a boat. You can only imagine that setting. There he showed them charity. So he didn't know their language, but as he bound their wounds and dried them off and cared to them and breathed life back into them, he spoke their language. He spoke charity to them. It's like what St. Paul says today when he says, "Put on, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, heartfelt compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another." That's just good old charity right there. St. Peter Claver showed that in those moments that I just described. But I think the Lord even then takes it one step further, and I think Peter probably did too, to mercy. Mercy goes above and beyond charity in a sense. It's hard to even put in a nutshell that to love those who hate you, like that's a high degree of charity, high enough that we'd call it mercy. To pray for those who persecute you. To if one person strikes you on one cheek, turn the other as well. If one takes from you, do not demand it back. These things are so countercultural today, right? This is mercy. And maybe this is the language of heaven, right? That we don't judge other people with the same criteria we tend to do down here. We look at everybody with mercy. So maybe we can start practicing that now. I think guys like St. Peter Claver inspire us to do that, to see that really what we do on earth does bear fruit in heaven. Like our Lord says, you will be given back good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. Peter Claver himself says, we will be judged for what we did and didn't do, for our good deeds and our bad deeds, both of them. It's a good idea to keep that in mind when we're up against an opportunity. So when we have those opportunities, let's speak those two universal languages: charity on earth, mercy in heaven.